Right, shifting our focus now, a major shift may be unfolding in the Iran-US war, and it might just force American President Donald Trump to recalibrate his stance on Tehran's nuclear stockpile. Leaked details accessed by Saudi Arabian news channel Al Arabia claims that Iran has agreed to a long-term freeze on parts of its nuclear program. Instead of a complete dismantling of its capabilities, the reported proposal also suggests that Tehran is willing to transfer enriched uranium to Russia, not to the United States, under specific conditions. Now, this raises a critical question. Will Donald Trump soften his position on Iran's nuclear stockpile if Tehran accepts restrictions without surrendering its entire program? Russia has remained a key figure in the negotiations, especially on the nuclear issue. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that Moscow welcomes any voluntary Iranian concessions aimed at reducing global tensions.
Our position here is very simple. The basic principle is that Iran, like any other state party to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, has every right to enrich uranium for peaceful and energy purposes.
Now, Lavrov's remarks come weeks after Moscow reportedly offered to take custody of Iran's enriched uranium reserves as part of a broader diplomatic arrangement. Reports from Iran also claim that Washington has eased its tone during the ongoing negotiations. Iranian media outlet Tasnim claims that the United States has agreed to suspend sanctions on Iranian oil exports while talks continue. Citing those linked to the Iranian negotiating team, this is what the report claims, that Tehran continues to demand the complete removal of sanctions, while Washington is reportedly willing to temporarily lift only selected U.S. Treasury restrictions until a final agreement is reached. Iran earlier also said that its indirect talks with the United States are continuing through Pakistani mediation. Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghai said that Tehran has firmly defended its demands in every round of negotiations and has conveyed its concerns directly to the American side through mediators. On Sunday last, Iran's Fars news agency said that Washington had presented a 5-point list, which included a demand for Iran to keep only one nuclear site in operation and transfer its stockpile of highly enriched uranium to the U.S. According to the report, America had refused to release even 25% of Iran's frozen assets or pay any reparations for the war damage. In an earlier proposal, remember, which was sent last week, Iran had called for an end to the war on all fronts, including Israel's campaign in Lebanon, as well as a halt to a U.S. naval blockade on Iranian ports in place since the 13th of April. It also called for the lifting of all American sanctions on Iran and the release of its assets frozen abroad. Fars, remember, which is a semi-Iranian state media, said that the Iranian proposal had emphasized that Tehran would continue to manage the strategic Strait of Hormuz, which is, as we all know, a vital energy conduit that Iran has largely kept closed since the start of the war. On Monday, Iran's Supreme National Security Council announced the formation of a new body to manage the strait. And now, it would be interesting to say and see what U.S. President decides as his next course of action on Iran.